What's up, YouTube? Tim is here. Here's my opening streaming segment where I talk about the films or series that are coming out this week, whether they be theater, streaming, etc. Alright, the major films we have out this week. In theaters, we got Shadow Force, starring Omar Sy and Kerry Washington. An estranged couple with a bounty on their head goes on the run with their son to avoid the former employee, a unit of Shadow Ops that has been sent to kill them. Now, this is directed by Joe Carnahan, who's always pretty good. This does look intriguing, does look pretty fun. I like Omar Sy, I like Kerry Washington. Definitely has the Mr. and Mrs. Smith feel to it. I'm all for this. Hopefully, it could be going. Now, this one I'm excited for. Clown in the Cornfield. Friend of the Clown, the mascot of a town, terrorizes a teenager and her friend. Now, this is from the same director who did Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, if you guys never seen Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, you're missing out. That movie's awesome. This here sounds pretty fun. It does look intriguing. The kill sounds pretty cool. I'm all for this. Hopefully, it's a great one. I mean, I'm hearing some great things about it, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Alright. Now, on the streaming front, we don't have a whole lot coming to streaming this week. But on Netflix, we got Nonas, which stars Vince Vaughn, Susan Sarandon, loads of Sopranos actors. Like, we got Lorraine Bracco, Tyler Shire, Drea DiMatteo, like, tons of Sopranos actresses are in this here. After losing his beloved mother, a man risks everything to honor her by opening an Italian restaurant with actual grandmothers as the chefs. The trailer does look pretty charming. It's from the same director of Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I enjoy. He also did one Dear Evan Hansen, which I enjoyed that a little more than most people did. You got Vince Vaughn, who, despite his political stuff, I still do like Vince Vaughn. I've always been a fan of his, so he's supposed to who he wants. I don't care. But this does look like it'd be pretty interesting to check out. Hopefully, it's a good one. Alright, on Hulu, we've got Summer of '69, which this looks pretty fun. It's directed by Jillian Bell, starring Chloe Fineman, That 90s Show star Sam Morellos. An awkward high school senior, Abby, hires an exotic dancer to help seduce her longtime crush before graduation. This looks hilarious. Of course, you got Chloe Fineman, who I think this is like her first time she's actually leading something. Like, Chloe Fineman's always more like the supporting character, so I adore her on SNL, so I'm definitely excited to see her in this. Looks like it'd be a really fun, teen raunchy comedy, which you don't really get too many nowadays, so I'm all for this. Hopefully it could be going. Alright, we also got Juliet and Romeo. Who cares? That's a new Romeo and Juliet film, which looks horrible. It does got Jason Isaacs, so I'll give it a watch for him, but it's probably going to be a terrible one. We got Fight or Flight, which this looks really cool. A mercenary takes on the job of tracking a high-value asset known only as the Ghost on an international flight. Realizing the plane is filled with assassins assigned to kill them both, the pair must work together and fight for their lives. So pretty much it's like Bullet Train on a plane. That's what I'm really getting at with this. Of course, you got Josh Hartnett. It looks a lot of fun. Looks really violent. Looks entertaining. I'm all for it. Definitely excited for this one. Alright, we also got the A24 movie Friendship. Starring Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson. A man tries to be friends with a charismatic new neighbor, but it soon strains to ruin both of their lives. The trailer for this does look pretty interesting. You got Paul Rudd, who's always good. Tim Robinson's pretty decent. Looks pretty interesting to check out. Alright, other stuff we have out this week. Stand Your Ground, which stars Eric Roberts, Pierce Stormare. This is probably going to be terrible, but a former Special Forces operative, Jack Johnson, uses the Stand Your Ground law to seek vengeance for his wife's murder. This ignites a war against a local crime lord's family. Yeah, this definitely is probably going to be bad. Eric Roberts, I don't know, he always is in some of the terrible stuff, but We got Watch the Skies, which is actually made entirely out of AI, by the way. Which, okay. A rebellious teen woman's father went missing years ago, and she believes that he didn't run away, but he was abducted by aliens. She joined forces with a funky UFO club member made up of a lovable group of weirdos and rejects. Together, they embark on an adventure that takes them from far beyond the boundaries of the law and entirely ultimately our world. I said the free for this. Looks weird. I mean, I don't know. AI is so creepy. I don't know why. Every time you see like AI images, it's just so weird. I don't know. Anyway, we got a movie called Dominion, directed by Lexi Alexander, who also did Punisher Warzone, which, all due respect to the Thomas Jane one, Punisher Warzone is my favorite Punisher movie. I just so hardly enjoy that one. But anyway, in 2063, desperate for salvation to save humanity from a global holy war, the world's governing bodies establish a fierce martial law tournament to determine a champion whose fate will govern humanity and restore peace for the future. That could be pretty fun. I mean, could be bad, but we'll see. We got a movie called The Lightning Code, which features Jason Marsden, who you might remember as the voice of Max Goofy from a Goofy movie. It's where teen inventor Miles Fletcher unlocks the lost secrets to limitless energy. However, when a ruthless corporation steals his discovery, his friends and a loyal robot helps him fight back. That could be interesting to check out. Alright, we also got a movie called Unit 234, which I saw the pre for this. This does look intriguing here. It's directed by Hitch director Andy Tennant. He also made like Sweet Home Alabama, The Bounty Hunter. Not really known for horror, so that's an interesting director there. It stars, Orphan star Isabel Furman, Don Johnson, Jack Houston. A woman gets the shock of her life when she finds handcuffed men inside a storage unit. When a group of criminals comes looking for him, she does whatever she can do to save his life and her own. The pre for this, I just saw the pre for this. It does look pretty creepy. Looks like there's gonna be some cool twists and turns around. I'm all for this. This could be interesting to check out. We also got a movie called Lily, which stars Patricia Clarkson, an emotional drama about a courageous factory worker who fights for justice when cheated and mistreated by her company. I like Patricia Clarkson, so that could be interesting. We got a movie called The Moogle. Sarah and Fergus, a hopeful abnormal couple, gives birth to their second baby. However, the joy and happiness soon takes a sinister turn when Sarah becomes convinced that a malevolent spirit is trying to steal her newborn. That could be pretty creepy there. We got a movie called Sue Torn. A seamless dress gets tangled in her own dreads after stealing a briefcase from a drug deal gone bad. In an escalating game of cat and mouse, her different choices lead to a drastically different outcome along the way. I said a pre for that. That looks intriguing to check out, so that could be cool. We got Marcelia, which is a documentary about portrait of Marcella Hazen, a renowned Italian chef and cookbook author who significantly influenced American cuisine. That's probably gonna make us pretty hungry there. Cool there. We got a horror movie called Cryptic. Sometimes when you go hunting for a monster, the monster finds you first. A woman searches for missing cryptozoologists, leading her to reinventing cosmic quests for identity. That could be creepy there. We got something called Greek Mothers Never Die. Ella dreams of becoming a singer, but her overbearing Greek mother, Despina, insists that she takes over the gyro's business and marries a Greek man. Why does that sound like My Big Fat Greek Wedding? But anyway. After her sudden death, Despina's larger-than-life presence refuses to fade, haunting Ella with a more unassociated advice from beyond the grave. Okay, that could be interesting. We got a movie called Sharp Corner, starring Ben Foster and Kobe Smulders. A troubled man begins to spiral, consumed by a fatal car crash caused by a sharp corner in the front of his house. As his sick obsession takes a hold, um, he pre- he places his wife and son in jeopardy, draining to permanently break the family apart. That could be interesting. I mean, Ben Foster's always good. I love Kobe Smulders. This could be interesting to check out. We also got Henry Johnson, directed by famed playwright David Mamet, starring Shia LaBeouf. A man seeks a moral compass while meeting authority figures, including his future cellmate Jane. Interesting. I've said this before. You know, Shia LaBeouf is a terrific actor. Just I always feel like his personal life always get in the way of his talent. I think he's always amazing. Hopefully, this is better than that recent one he just did. That boxing one he just did. Salvable. That's how forgettable it is. I can't remember the name, but maybe this could be a good one. You got David Mamet, who's good. So interesting. We also got the John Wick documentary called Wick is Pain, which I'm interested in seeing that. Definitely look forward to see how John Wick got made, and how the I'm always interested to see these type of documentaries, so that could be cool to check out. On the TV front, we got Criminal Minds Evolution returning for Paramount Plus. Poker Face Season 2 returns to Peacock, which I'm excited for that. Love the first season. Forever coming to Netflix, which is set in 2018 LA as two young athletes become each other's first love. This does look interesting. It does look charming. So that could be interesting to check out. On Amazon, we got Octopus, which is a documentary about octopuses. Of course, you got Tracy Morgan's in this. I like Octopus, so why not? We got Conan O'Brien Must Go Season 2 come to Max, which I haven't seen, but I heard decent stuff about it. Last but not least, on Apple, we got Long Way Home, which is like the Ewan McGregor, Charlie Borman motorcycle series. So I haven't seen that, but I always keep forgetting Ewan McGregor has a show on Apple, so there's that. But some interesting stuff here. Well, let me let you guys. Which of these films or series are you interested in? Are you interested in the likes of, Clown in the Cornfield? Are you interested in, Fight or Flight, Shadow Force, Poker Face? Draw comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Tim.